Good morning, students. Today we will be discussing about the action of catalyst. There are so many things you might have been knowing about catalyst so far because you are studying chemistry for quite a few years. So these are the main points which we will be discussing about the action of catalysts. The first is catalysis, then action of promoter, Poisson, homogeneous catalysis, heterogeneous catalysis, adsorption theory of heterogeneous catalysis, then important features of solid catalysis, self-selected catalysis of zeolites, and something about GDSM-5. So these points we will be discussing in this discussion board today. So as I told you that catalysis is a process of increasing the rate of reaction by decreasing the activation energy. What happens if we go back to the chapter, the name of which was chemical kinetics? We had studied that if this was the direction of the reaction, or this was reaction coordinate, or this was the axis which shows progress of reaction, and if this shows the potential energy of the reactant and the product, then if the reactants were there, then uncatalyzed reaction required high activation energy, and catalyzed pathway required less activation energy. The same example you will find which is given in the first topic of catalysis in your NCERT book about decomposition of potassium chlorate. They are saying that KClO3, if it has to decompose to form KCl and O2, then if catalyst is not given, then the energy required used to be, the heat of the reaction used to be in the range of around 653 to 873 Kelvin. This much of temperature was required. But if catalyst is used, catalyst means here MnO2 is used, MnO2 as catalyst is used, then it provides a platform, and as a result the reaction pathway becomes lower, and as a result the catalytic pathway, the temperature required is much lesser. So catalytic pathway, for that the temperature required is 473 to 673 Kelvin. Now instead of writing this product here, I could have written the product over here. But why have I written the product over here? Because it is absorbing heat. So the enthalpy of formation of this product will be more than that of the enthalpy of formation of the reactant. So this is the difference. So this is an endothermic process. In endothermic process, this curve will be upward than this, and in exothermic process this curve will be lower. All right. So this is what is explained in your first topic of the catalysis, that when you use catalyst, then less temperature is required for the thermal decomposition to take place, and if you don't use catalyst, then more temperature is required. All right. So I have related this with the same graph which you already know from chemical kinetics, so that you can understand this in a more deeper manner. Next topic is about promoter and Poisson. For a student of chemistry, poison is not something which kills anyone. The meaning of poison is different. For a student of chemistry, poison is that chemical substance which reduces the activity of the catalyst. Like you must have heard about potassium cyanide. It acts as a poison and then people die. So what happens when potassium cyanide or cyanogen gas is inhaled? The respiratory enzymes, they are blocked and the oxygen fails to get imbibed on that. The surface of the respiratory enzyme, like cytochrome. Cytochrome is that enzyme in which the respiration takes place. There what happens, these cyanide ions, cyanogen gases, they diffuse and oxygen cannot find its place. As a result, what happens? The body suffers from deficiency of oxygen and the person dies. Similarly, there can be some poison which can attack nervous system. There can be some poison which can attack the circulatory system. There can be some poison which can all of a sudden stop the heart to work. Alright. So this is something which we know about poison. But from chemistry point of view, for us, the reaction which takes place in our body or the reaction which takes place in a test tube, both are reactions. So in a test tube kind of a system or in a reaction vessel kind of a system, poison is that substance which reduces or blocks the activity of the enzyme. So example of poison I'll give you. Say for example, if you have to reduce ethanaldehyde to ethanol, what kind of process is this? Is it oxidation or it is reduction? It is reduction. Why? Because hydrogen is added. Here how many hydrogen atoms were there? Here 4 hydrogen atoms were there. Here 5 hydrogen atoms are there. So it is hydrogenation. How is hydrogenation is done? This hydrogenation is done by using palladium on which hydrogen is adsorbed. Alright. So this is reduction. Now, if we allow this hydrogen to reduce aldehyde, then what will happen is even this aldehyde can become ethane. Even this oxygen can also be reduced. So this can be poisoned. So it is poisoned by using a salt which is known as BaSO4. Alright. So if we use BaSO4, then partial reduction will take place. Partial reduction will take place. Let us apply this concept in the process of conversion of ethanoic acid to ethanol. Formula for ethanoic acid would be CH3COOH. If it is reduced and if I use PD and hydrogen adsorbed on it, palladium on which hydrogen is adsorbed, then this can form aldehyde. So why can't aldehyde form alcohol? It can form alcohol also, but if we want to get aldehyde only, then we have to stop this reduction after some extent. So what we will do? We can poison this catalyst using barium sulfate. So here palladium is acting as catalyst and BaSO4 is acting as a poison. This process is partial reduction. And this method was given by Rosenmund. It is also called as, therefore, Rosenmund reduction. So the action of catalyst and enzyme you will study more in case of organic chemistry. So that is why I have taken this example. The example of poison was not there in your textbook like this. So I have picked up this example so that with one arrow two birds can be killed, and you get insight about the organic chemistry also, application of poisoning also. So I have given you the example of poisoning from cyanide, potassium cyanide and cyanogen gas and its action on cytochrome. Second example from chemistry point of view also I have given you. One name reaction also you have learned. Alright. So this was the action of poison. So what does a poison do? A poison inhibits the action of enzyme. A poison inhibits the action of enzyme. So we can write here poison acts as inhibitor of catalytic action. Now in one hand we are doing catalysis, on the other hand we are poisoning the catalyst also. Why? So that we can control it. It is just analogically as same as sometimes we lubricate the machine and sometimes we try to bring in friction also. So that helps us to control the whole process. So poisoning and catalyzing, it helps us to control the desired reaction, that how much reduction or how much oxidation we actually want to happen. That should be in our control. Alright. So to do controlled reduction, to do selective reduction, to do partial reduction or any kind of reaction, we require catalyst also, as well as with that we require poison also. Now I think that the concept of poison from a chemistry student point of view is now clear to you. Now just the synonym of poison would be promoter. What would be a promoter? A promoter is the chemical substance which enhances the enzyme action. Let me take one example from your textbook itself, because you will be having this as the resource with you. In case of Haber's process, of manufacturing of ammonia, N2 is made to react with H2 to form NH3. So this is twice, this is twice. Now this becomes 3 times, so we make it 3. Here we use iron also and molybdenum also. So out of these iron and molybdenum, one is catalyst and the other is promoter. So here iron is used as catalyst and MO, molybdenum, is the promoter. Now the mechanism of how promoter works, that is not discussed in this book. Alright, but then I can tell you what happens when the diffusion of the reactant takes place on the catalyst. At that time, the site on which the reaction takes place, that becomes busy. At that particular moment, the other reactants can escape out. So what does the promoter do? Promoter temporarily holds them. So promoter is the next better substitute as compared to the catalyst. So it temporarily holds them and keep them in the waiting room. Then keep them means keep the reactants in the waiting room. So I'm just using an analogy here. Now when after the reaction, when the product will diffuse out or the product will run away from the surface, then those reactants which were held by the promoter will now be brought to the surface of the catalyst. So that is one of the ways in which the promoter works. So in biological system, we will call catalyst as enzyme and promoter as coenzyme. Alright, so we will come to that again later on. So again further about promoter and about enzyme we will be discussing when we will be discussing about preparation of certain molecules in P block and D block elements. Alright, so this was all about this topic, promoter. So we have completed catalysis, we have completed promoter, we have completed poisoning. Now we'll see homogeneous catalysis. In homogeneous catalysis, the state of matter of reactant, enzyme and product are same. Say for example, if I talk about gas phase reaction in which the sulfur dioxide is becoming sulfur trioxide. So what catalyst do we use here? We use nitric oxide, NO. So this is also gas, this is also gas, and this is also gas. So this is an example of homogeneous catalysis. In liquid phase we can see hydrolysis of ester like CH3, COO, C2H5. If it undergoes hydrolysis, then we give HCl in presence of dissolved in H2O. So what does it form? It forms CH3, COOH plus C2H5OH. What is this? Acetic acid. It is ethyl acetate. This is acetic acid or ethanoic acid. This is ethanol. So here it is in liquid phase. It is in liquid phase. This is in liquid phase. This is in liquid phase, and this is also in liquid phase. So it is also an example of heterogeneous catalysis. What about digestion of sugar? What happens when sucrose or sugar is digested? Formula for sucrose is C12H22O11. So in our stomach, when it acts with the enzymatic H plus and H2O, then it breaks into C6H12O6 plus C6H12O6. Now both the molecules, their molecular formula is same, but their structural formula is different. One is aldose and another is ketose. So one is actually glucose and the other is fructose. They are just like isomers, functional group isomers. So one contains ketone group, another contains aldehyde group. So they are functional group isomers. So when glucose undergoes hydrolysis, then it forms, when sucrose undergoes hydrolysis, it forms glucose and fructose. So this is also a kind of example of homogeneous catalysis. See, all are in liquid phase, dissolved in water, dissolved in water. Okay, so this was the example of homogeneous catalysis. Now let us see the example of heterogeneous catalysis. It is needless to now explain that homogeneous catalysis will be the catalysis in which the state of matter of the catalyst and the reactant and the product will be same, whereas in case of heterogeneous catalyst, it will be different. So in case of heterogeneous catalysis, the state of matter or the word which can be used is phase also, phase, liquid phase, gas phase of reactant, enzyme and product are different. Example: vegetable oil, when they are made to undergo hydrogenation in presence of hydrogen as reactant, attacking reagent and substrate. This is attacking reagent, this is substrate. hydrogen is made to be adsorbed on platinum or nickel. Nickel is little cheaper, so generally we use nickel. It is cheaper in cost. Then this oil which is liquid, this nickel which is solid, makes ghee, vegetable ghee, dalda. You must have seen the Banaspati ghee or dalda. It is prepared by hydrogenation of vegetable oil. Alright. So this is an example of heterogeneous catalysis, in which solid catalyst is used and the phases of the reactant and the product are also different. So basically the phase of the reactant and the product can also be same, but the phase of the catalyst should be different. Alright, this was another example of heterogeneous catalysis. One more example of heterogeneous catalysis we had discussed in case of nitrogen and hydrogen becoming ammonia. In that case, the iron was used. So iron was solid, so it was heterogeneous catalysis. So you can recall that example also. In your book, there is a repetition of that. Another one is oxidation of ammonia to form nitric oxide and water. It also involves platinum as the catalyst. Then hydrogenation of oil we have just discussed. So with this we have discussed about heterogeneous catalysis. Now very quickly we will see the three examples in the form of reaction. Three examples of heterogeneous catalysis we will see. One was N2 and H2 becoming NH3. 2, 3, iron was catalyst, this was solid, molybdenum was promoter. This was one example. This was gas, this was gas. This was, if it is in high pressure it will be liquid, otherwise it will also be in the gaseous form. Next was NH3 plus O2 forming NO plus H2O in presence of platinum as catalyst. We can balance it now. So this was also an example of heterogeneous catalysis. This was gas, solid, gas, and steam is also gas. Next example, we have already seen vegetable oil in presence of nickel and hydrogen gas forming vegetable ghee. Or dalda. So we have done homogeneous catalysis, heterogeneous catalysis. Now we will see adsorption theory of heterogeneous catalysis. Adsorption theory of heterogeneous catalysis. Let me take the example of hydrogenation of any alkene. So this is an alkene. Any group can be here, and this has to be hydrogenized. This has to be hydrogenated. So I can take hydrogen gas in presence of platinum. So it will form CH, double bond, CH, hydrogen will get added, and whatever substitute was there will be there. So what happens if it is nickel? So hydrogen remains adsorbed on it. When alkene comes, then this bond starts becoming weak and this bond starts forming. Then after some time, this bond becomes strong and this bond becomes weak. And the next step is it forms and the plate becomes vacant surface. So three things are happening here. First, diffusion of the reactant and diffusion of the reactants on the surface of the catalyst. Second is reaction between the attacking reagent and the substrate, formation of the product, and then diffusion of the product. So these 3 to 4 steps are taking place. So these 3 to 4 steps we can write down now. Since we have completed these 4 points, so I can make use of this. I'll just erase it. So 4 steps. Its 4 steps would be diffusion, of reactants on the surface of catalyst. Second, reaction between the reactants. Third, desorption of product formed. Desorption of product formed, and the fourth point is diffusion of the product away from the surface of catalyst. So that again new set of molecule can react. So that is why a very small quantity of catalyst can help to conduct a large scale of reaction. So we will not require large amount of catalyst for conducting a large extent of reaction or large volume of reaction. For large amount of reactants we require only small quantity of catalyst, because catalyst can be used a number of times. One of the very important feature of catalyst is that catalyst itself does not take part in the chemical reaction. Catalyst never takes part in the chemical reaction, but the chemical reaction occurs on the surface of the heterogeneous catalyst. Alright, so this was it. Next is 2 important features of the solid catalyst. This is also done. Two important features of solid catalysts. First is they are specific in nature. So they are specificity. Each of the catalyst is specific for a particular reaction. It is not that all catalysts can catalyze all types of reaction. Second is its activity. So activity of a particular catalyst occurs at a particular condition. Say we'll take the example of some specificity. Say if first A, carbon monoxide and hydrogen is made to react in presence of nickel, it forms methane and water. But if it reacts in presence of copper, zinc alloy and CrOCl2, then it will form ethanol. Or we can take Cr2O3 also. So it is oxidizing agent. C, if the same reactant is treated with copper only, it will form ethanol. Ethanol. So see, the reactants are same, but when we change the catalyst, the products are different. So for every different reaction, the catalysts are specific. Next is the activity of the catalyst. Activity of the catalyst depends upon the extent of chemisorption. So these are the two important features of solid catalyst, that for every different reaction there will be a different catalyst. So a particular catalyst cannot perform more than one type of desired reaction. Second is the activity of the catalyst. It depends upon how much good the catalyst is in forming the chemisorption with the reactant. That is it. Now next is safe selective catalysis. So there is a term called as cracking of petroleum. Petra means rock, oleum means oil, and this is nothing but mixture of hydrocarbons. So it can contain long chain of carbon. In the general formula like this, it can contain long chain of hydrocarbon with say C18, C20 like that. In case of paraffin wax, large number of carbon atoms would be there. In case of petrol, less number of carbon atoms will be there. So if we want to decrease the size of the carbon atom in the hydrocarbon chain, then what we do is cracking of petroleum. So this cracking of petroleum is done using a catalyst which contains micropores. So these micropores allow a particular sized catalyst, a particular sized hydrocarbon only to pass through. Alright, that is called as zeolite. So these zeolites are nothing but aluminosilicates. So these are the covalent network solids containing unit like Al, Si, Al, Si. So in this way there is cage-like structure. They form a cage-like structure through which a particular hydrocarbon can only pass through. So cracking is done, and after cracking is done by heating it, and after that the vapors are passed through this aluminosilicate zeolite so as we can get the desired fraction of the petroleum. This is one method. Another is a particular name of a zeolite is given. The name of that is ZSM5. Now ZSM5 has the property of converting alcohol into gasoline. If we get alcohol, say C2H5OH, and if we treat it with ZSM5, it is name of the zeolite, you know, it is name of one of the zeolite. Name of the zeolite or shape selective catalyst. Then it forms gasoline. I will not call it as petrol. Gasoline is little different from petrol. Gasoline has very light weight and these are super refined petrol generally used in the aircrafts or such kind of machine whose efficiency has to be very high. So when I say efficiency, I mean efficiency of the fuel. That means with very less quantity of fuel, high amount of energy should be produced and the waste product should be minimum. So when these aircrafts they move in the air, then the carbon footprints, that means the residual fuel, the burnt fuel parts should be very less ejected into the atmosphere. So gasoline is generally used in that case for helicopters, for aircrafts. So these are all, you know, called as air traffic fuels, ATF petrol. So these are all prepared by the help of this kind of catalysts. So this was all about the action of catalysts. Now what I will recommend you is refer to the NCERT book, and it is a very easy topic. From this chapter easy level question only comes. So if we only focus on the difficult topics, we will not have command over the easy level topics. So in an exam 20% questions will be very easy, 20% questions will be very difficult, and 60% questions will be average questions. Now average questions could be easy for some people, those who do practice, and average questions could be difficult for some other students. Now there are some students, those who write the answers in the form of their opinion. In that case what happens, teachers also give their marks according to their opinion. Alright, so if you write down the answer in the way it is there in the NCERT book, then teacher will not be able to give the marks according to their opinion, but they will be bound to give you marks as per the marking scheme. So I sincerely urge you that you go by the textbook, NCERT textbook first. Whatever examples are there, keep it in your permanent memory, because if you listen to my video, listen to my teaching, the things will be there in your temporary memory, you know, in your RAM, random access memory. But if you want to put it into your hard disk, then you have to repeat, revise, recall and remember. Alright, so that is it. So in my next class I will be coming up with enzyme catalysis. Thank you.